Just the other day, Apple announced the new MacBook Pros with the M1 Pro and M1 Max chips in it. And while those are extremely tempting to buy, I think for most people, I think the real question is the original M1 MacBook Air still worth the $1,000 price? It's been a full year since it was announced and released, and I'm gonna be very honest with all of you. Yeah, it absolutely is still worth the price. The M1 MacBook Air has been the greatest computer that I have ever owned, and also one of the cheapest too. While the M1 MacBook Air starts at $1,000, I didn't get the base model. I did upgrade it with the 8-core GPU, 16 gigs of RAM, and the 512 SSD, which did bring it up to $1,449. Let's just round that up to $1,500 for, easiness sake. And honestly, this computer is amazing, especially at that price. My computer before it was the 2018 Mac Mini, which was the cheapest computer I've actually ever owned. And the jump from the Mac Mini to the M1 Air has been night and day. And this is not to say that the Mac Mini sucked. It was actually a really good computer. Obviously, I like Mac OS, seeing from all the videos I make about Macs. But I still am a Windows user. And while I prefer Mac OS because it really does make Windows feel old, ever since I got the M1, it's made my Windows PC and every PC I've ever built feel old and slow in reality, especially for the price. I've put a lot of money in the PCs that I've built that don't feel nearly as snappy as the M1 chip does. 1 year later, and it hasn't even slowed down. If anything, it actually feels faster, and that's mostly because so many applications are finally optimized for the ARM chip. When I first got the M1 about a year ago, not a lot of apps were actually optimized for the M1. And while obviously all first-party Apple apps worked fine, the other ones were using Rosetta. And not like it, they made them super slow, but you can tell the difference. But now that majority of the apps that I use on a daily basis are optimized for the M1, you can tell, and it really, really makes the computer feel snappier, even a year after its release. Battery life too has also been amazing. While I don't think that it does the full 18 hours that Apple does market it as, here's the thing. When I'm leaving my apartment because I want to work anywhere but the apartment that I live in, I don't even bring the charger with me anymore. I literally just grab the laptop, put it in my bag, and go. Unless I'm going to be sitting out someplace editing 4K footage for a few hours, there's really no need for me to have that charger with me. Because if I'm sitting in emails and docs and on Slack, guess what? I'm never killing that battery. And remember, this is still coming from the same person who had their first M1 Mac die on them, and then I had to go through the whole lengthy process of figuring out why, which was due to a software error and a USB-C dongle, but then the lengthy Apple support case, and then the lengthy wait to get a new one in because everything was back ordered. And even after all of that extreme hassle, God, I love this computer so much, and I'm just being honest. While the screen is not the brightest in the world, and I wish the ports weren't on the same side and there was more of them, the design's also kind of old. It's a few years old at this point. It's still an amazing computer, especially at that $1,000 price point, which also you can find for about $900 on sites like Amazon pretty regularly, so don't pay $1,000 for it because, you can get it for cheaper. But still, it is worth its price, which in comparison also means that the 13-inch Pro is worth its price, the Mac Mini with M1 is worth its price, and the iMac is still worth its price. And of course, I did order the 14-inch MacBook Pro with the M1 Pro chip in it, but that's specifically so I can make videos on it and show you guys and show all of you who watch my videos really comparisons and see how good is it really in comparison to an M1 MacBook Air. And while I'm looking forward to the new Pro, I'm looking forward to having ports, actual ports, and I'm looking forward to trying out the M1 Pro chip and comparing it to the original M1, in reality, I could be using this M1 Air for years to come. It has not slowed down in the first year since I've gotten it, and I could easily see this lasting 2, 3, even 4 years in the future without selling it and getting a new one. But in reality, I'm doing this because, we need to make videos on it. We need to check this thing out. We need to compare it, and I'll sacrifice my money for all of you. That's what I'm doing, I guess. Look for the right price for your M1 Air and pick one up. Seriously, I highly recommend it. And if you're debating between the new Pro and the Air, wait for the videos to come out, wait for my own comparisons and my own testing, because I'm going to compare them side by side. But still, honestly, if you are not some crazy professional that's doing crazy work on their laptop and you just need something for browsing, get yourself an Air. It's so good. It's an amazing laptop. And if you need something stationary, get the Mac Mini. It's so cheap, and it's an amazing computer. Same chip. And it even has the fan, so technically it works better under a more intense load, which most people won't take advantage of. But still, it's a very inexpensive computer that is going to last you an extremely long time. So thanks guys for watching. Leave comments down below with any questions you have on the Air and maybe what you want to see in comparison between that one and the new M1 Pro. And I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. But stay tuned for when the M1 Pro laptop comes in and all those videos that are going to be coming with it. So thanks guys.